Buckler, known as the Foodie Tourist, and today we are on location at Edgewater Resort at Taylorsville Lake. And for those of you who read my blog, you know that for the whole year of 2012, my goal was to find interests and do some things that I'd never done for the first time. So one of the first things I got to do was go kayaking at Taylorsville Lake, and I got to spend some time at Edgewater Resort and met some folks there, and they asked me to come back and teach their guests something for a weekend getaway, something easy to prepare in their nice kitchens they have here. I can tell you in my kitchen, it's 2 foot by 6 foot, so this is pretty nice to cook in. This is a really nice cottage that they rent out for a weekend getaway, so we thought we'd come in here and give you a view of what the cottage looks like and teach their guests a couple easy recipes that they can do for Valentine's Day. So let's get started. We're going to do 2 main recipes today. One is going to be a baked egg dish that you bake in ramekins that is really pretty to look at when it's done, but it's delicious. And I'll give you some hints on that too. This is going to be some red velvet heart-shaped pancakes for Valentine's Day. And I'll give you some hints about that on how you can eat both of these recipes every day during the week. Not just for special holidays, but I'll teach you how to clam them up and you can have them for holidays too. So we're going to start with the baked egg dish. And the first thing you want to do is get you some ramekins, and these can be the white ones. The color really doesn't matter. What I find is the normal size ramekins, 6 fit in a 9 by 13 pan. So I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. But for this case, because it's a romantic getaway, we're going to do 2. And we're going to have him make them so he can deliver them to her in bed on Valentine's Day. So the first thing you want to do is line your ramekins with butter. This is going to help the eggs slide out at the end. The cool thing about the ramekin is it's going to hold them in a shape that's going to be the perfect size for an English muffin. That's perfect. Perfect. And then after we get done, one tip I'll give you, now that he's better in that, is if you lay some butter out the day before, and it'll soften for you to use the next day. You'll see that we're going to use this softened butter on a couple of different applications here, but set it out overnight so it's soft for you the next day and it'll be easy. Another tip for you is this brush. You can use this pastry brush as to brush pastries as you would the regular paintbrush looking kind, or you can put it on a hot surface because it's silicone, so that's something to invest in and it's not real expensive. So after you get these buttered, you want to crack an egg in each dish. Like I said earlier, a 10 by or a 9 by 13 pan will hold 6 of these ramekins. And when you buy these, if you buy them in a pack, you can get them at Walmart or any place pretty inexpensively. And you can get them with lids. So I'll advise you to get them with lids if you can find them. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is put 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. So this is a half a tablespoon. So you put 4 in each ramekin. So 2 tablespoons of heavy cream in each ramekin. And what's really cool about using heavy cream, not half and half, is we're going to sprinkle the top with cheese. And the cheese is going to mix with the cream, and it's going to create a cheesy cream sauce that'll fall down over the eggs once we take them out of the ramekins. So it keeps your English muffins from being dry. Which brings me to a next step, let me just say. We've preheated the grill for a couple different applications, but for this dish, what we're going to do is at the end, we're going to take the English muffins and brush them with butter and put them on the griddle side. And you can do this in a pan just as easy. In a skillet, you don't have to have a griddle, but this is going to work out good. One thing when it comes to English muffins is you want to look for the ones that have nooks and crannies so the cheese sauce can get down in them. That's a good thing. And make sure that you slice them because they're going to come whole. So you want to make sure to cut them in half. So after you get the cream done, you want to sprinkle them with cheese. And we've got shredded Parmesan and we've got cheddar. And there is no salt. This can be pretty bland. We don't add salt. And you may not know, you really don't want to salt eggs when you cook them because it makes them too hard and gets tough. You really don't want to do that, but the Parmesan is a good way to do that and add flavor without having tough eggs. Now the next ingredient might be a little bit different on a normal weekday, let's say. For our purposes, we're going to use herbs de Provence. Now you may not know what that is. It's a combination of a bunch of ingredients. Just put it on one for this breakfast. And herbs de Provence has rosemary, has basil, has garlic, has salt and pepper. But what I like about this particular version is when you go to make it, look for some that has lavender. Because when you bake these, the lavender gets real bright purple and it's pretty. I make these for a bed and breakfast, and they always do and all when they see purple, bright purple specks in it. So that's just. Now, if it's a man that's going to eat them and you're going to eat them every day, then what I would do, and I've made them this way, is these are real bacon bits. You can top these rather than use that herb. You can just put these on the other one that you're going to have. We'll fancy her up.
I appreciate that.
And I make these every Sunday, honestly, and I make 6 of these in a 9x13, like I said, and I'll do different toppings and different herbs on them. It'll depend on what my mood is. But I have to say the herbs de Provence with lavender is my favorite. My nephew lived with me when he was 12, and he hated that. So that's where the bacon came from, or sausage crumbles, quite honestly. But if you see how easy it is, that's the extent of that. So now what we're going to do is run some hot water, and you want to fill this about halfway up with water. Now what that does is keep your eggs from getting brown around the edges. This is, now you obviously have to be careful when you carry this to the stove because the water boils eventually. These will take about 30 to 40 minutes. So we'll come over and put them in the oven. And while these are baking, we'll do the next accompaniment to this gourmet Valentine breakfast, and that's going to be candied bacon. When the eggs come out, just to finish up this part, when the eggs come out, what we're going to do is grill some Canadian bacon. You can, that's my original recipe, and we're going to grill the English muffins, and then we'll assemble it on the plate that he's going to carry to her for breakfast. So while the eggs are cooking, we'll work on the bacon. This is thick cut bacon. They call it a butcher's cut of bacon. You really don't want to use thin bacon because it cooks up too thin and it'll burn really easy. So in this bowl here, all we have is brown sugar and cinnamon. That's it. You just mix it up in the bowl, and this is fresh cracked black pepper. Brown pepper. That would be an interesting ingredient that I don't have in my cabinet. We're going to put this on a tray that's under the cutting board. Okay, you're just going to lay this flat on here, and then we're going to pepper. And you only have to really pepper one side. We've got some long ways, yeah. We've got some bacon now because it takes 30 to 40 minutes too. So you'll get to see it. But what you'll want to do is use fresh black pepper on all of it on one side, and then just use your fingers to sprinkle it up and down. And I like cinnamon. A lot of people who make candied bacon, they just use brown sugar, but I think it's boring. So I do cinnamon, nutmeg. I've used pumpkin pie spice or apple pie spice, just whatever. This bacon is really good too. You can cut it up on a cutting board and sprinkle it in salads. You know, you can do all kinds of things. It's a really good bacon. Or you can just eat it if any lasts for salad. You can do that, but it never lasts. So you just want to mix the cinnamon and brown sugar up, and then you just use your fingers and sprinkle, and then you can put black pepper on.
Can I put too much of this on?
Not really. Not really. One important thing when you bake this though is you want to put a cooling rack on a cookie sheet so the bacon grease can drip off, because if not, your bacon, number one, isn't going to get crisp, but number two, it's just going to sit in bacon fat and everything's going to wash off that you spent all the time putting on it. So you really can't go crazy. You might have to bake it a little bit longer because it will get crispy. When it cools, it'll be crispier. So if you put a lot of brown sugar topping on it, you might have to bake it a little bit longer. Perfect. Perfect. And then just want to wash your hands? You wash your hands, I'll pepper. You don't want to touch other stuff with raw foods on your hands. Fresh ground pepper is good too. You want to use this instead of canned pepper because it's a lot stronger. And you really won't taste this pepper until the very end. Okay, so we'll put this in the oven, and this will bake about as long as the eggs do, about 30-45 minutes. And like I said, we have both going, so we'll show you what that looks like at the end. Okay, you might want to turn that up just a hair. And we'll move on to pancakes. Now this, I've done a little bit ahead of time just to save time. This is dry ingredients here. This is all-purpose flour, baking soda, baking powder, unsweetened cocoa powder, and 3 tablespoons of sugar. And I'll have the ingredients list and directions on the foodietourist.com. So you'll be able to go there and print them out and see this video and watch us do it again. So you just want to mix these together. This is a basic, just so you know, it's a basic pancake recipe. You know, honestly, if you want to buy a box of red velvet cake mix and use it, you can do that. You can use Bisquick. Just follow the directions like you would pancake batter and add a couple tablespoons of cocoa to it. Because you'll see with the wet ingredients what is going to make it a red velvet cake. And you might not know, but red velvet cake is actually chocolate cake, and it's red food coloring. So, like I said, you can use Bisquick or a bacon mix if you want to save all this step. So then, in this one, this is a little bit different than if you used a baking mix for that, but this is 3/4 cup of buttermilk. There are 2 secret ingredients in mine, and one is buttermilk, the other is creme fraiche or sour cream. We're going to use sour cream in this case. But this is 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk with a tablespoon of real vanilla. And I could do a whole other episode on vanilla, let me just tell you. But that's what this is, buttermilk and vanilla. So we're going to pour that in here. Now when you make this, if it looks too thick at the end, all you have to do is add some more buttermilk to it. Don't add water, just add some more buttermilk. So to this, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of sour cream. So with this step, you're separating your wet and dry ingredients. That's all you're doing. And an egg.
That's what you like this.
Thanks. That's okay. You know, it's funny because a lot of people use these little dishes and they crack their egg in it first to look and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. You don't get a shell and all that. I've never done that. I'm sure it's a good idea, but I've just never wanted to do that step. That's just dirty in another dish, and I've always had to do it myself. So we're skipping that part. So you also want to add, you want to whisk all of your wet ingredients. And you don't have to, you know, there's nothing perfect about it. It can have lumps. The main thing is you just want to make sure that you get it mixed up really good, especially the egg. You don't want to have globs of eggs in your batter. So then you pour the wet into the dry. I'm going to say, okay, we poured the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients for the red velvet pancakes, and I've reserved a little bit of the wet ingredients because we need to add food coloring. And you want to add probably about a tablespoon of food coloring, but, you know, make them as red as you want. So I'm just going to put probably half a bottle in here. That's probably a little more than a tablespoon. And see, just look and see what it looks like. You want to make sure to mix this in with your wet ingredients. If not, it's not going to mix in. That's pretty bright, you think, Abby? Let's see if this is going to be red enough. It doesn't take much, really. But I've made them, and they turned out pink, which is a different holiday. Okay? So you want to carefully, so you don't turn yourself red, see if you can use that. And if you can't, you know, you can use a spatula or a spoonula, as some people call it. See, it's looking hot pink.
A little bit.
Let's add a little bit more. Here, let's knock this off. If this gets too thick for you, just add more buttermilk. Don't add water for sure. Just add some more buttermilk. Okay, you can use your spatula and mix it up. Do you think you could do this with no help?
No.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could. But you know what? We'll just put it on there just because we like red. Nice. It happens.
Might be all of it.
You know, they actually make food coloring in a paste too.
Oh.
There's some recipes that you can't put liquid in, like chocolate. And you want to color chocolate, they make a paste or a powder that you can color with, so it doesn't seize up. But liquid's good in this. After you get that mixed up, it's pretty good. That's a hot red color, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I like it. Mixed up really good. You really don't want lumps.
I'm doing my best.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good color. Now, at this stage, we want to add about 3 tablespoons of melted butter. You don't want to add this to your wet ingredients because you have an egg. And if this is warm, then it's going to cook your egg and you don't want strays of white in your pancakes. That's not sexy. So this is 3 tablespoons of melted butter once you get it all mixed in. And this is going to help your pancakes brown and be delish. You really don't even have to butter them at the end when you put on a plate. There's a lot of butter for this recipe. So just fold that in really good. And then you're going to get a kick out of this next step. But we're just going to try it and see if you can do it, okay? We're going to actually make hearts out of these pancakes. Now when you make these at home, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Although, you might want to try it at least once a month. That is a surefire way to stay out of the doghouse, I'm just saying. Okay, while he's mixing that up, I want to talk to you about this. Usually I don't name names, but this is one of my favorite inventions. This is a measuring cup. Tupperware makes this measuring cup. Now if there's another one that, by another brand that does the same thing, I would be tickled to death, but I don't know about it. But the cool thing about this measuring cup is also a funnel. You take the bottom off and you can use this as a funnel. And the cool thing about it besides that is this tip in here is long. So if you want to fill a little bottle that has a small opening, say you buy maple syrup in bulk and you want to fill smaller bottles with it, this is the perfect funnel for that because the neck of it is real little. So we're going to demonstrate that by filling up a bottle, and that's good. Perfect. You're good. Not a lump anywhere. Now see, this little spout is going to go in here, and you're not going to spill any. And this goes over the opening, which is awesome. It keeps you from making a mess. So what you want to do is hold that so it doesn't fall off, because that would be a nightmare. And let's see if it's thick enough to do that. Is that attractive? It's going slowly but surely. If this, like I said, if that's thick, you can put some more buttermilk in it. This looks like it's going to be pretty good. You might want to thin it out a little bit more if you use this. But we're going to show how to make these. You can use your finger, that's okay. Not cool. Okay. As soon as that goes down there, we're going to use this bottle to make the heart shape. So while that's doing its thing, we've got the griddle heated up, and again, you can do this in a skillet. Take some butter and brush just the griddle side, or just the griddle side. Because what we're going to do is make heart shapes out of this bottle. And again, if you notice with the silicone brush, you don't have to worry about anything. It's always good. Do you know you don't even have to store butter in the refrigerator? I was amazed at that. I didn't even know that. But butter lasts outside. And your butter's brown, which to me is not necessarily a bad thing, because brown butter is awesome. But sometimes it'll color what you're using if you use brown butter, but it's not going to make any difference with these because these are dark pancakes. So what we're going to do is make hearts. Can you do that?
Maybe.
And you can get these bottles anywhere. They're like 50 cents to $1. You can get them at Walmart or the dollar store. I mean, there's nothing fancy about any of this. So that means you can go get you some clear bottles and do this yourself at home. There's no excuse. You want to make them about a silver dollar size? Well, ain't that cute? Perfect! Look at that! You go, boy. Now there's no excuse for you not to Keep on going, fill that whole side up. Man, that's gonna be delicious. Okay, so then on the other side, what we're gonna do is, just so happens that this griddle has a grill on the other side, which is going to be awesome for our Canadian bacon, which is going to go on our English muffins, and we're going to grill the English muffins too, just so you can have some texture difference. So what we did was butter the English muffins after we sliced them in half, and we're going to now put, while we're waiting on those to cook, we're going to put 2 slices of Canadian bacon, 1 for each English muffin, on the griddle side. And Canadian bacon is already cooked, so you don't have to worry about where your hands have been. But what you do want to do is make sure you get good grill marks on both sides. It's just pretty. But in all actuality, when we take the baked eggs out and put them on top of it, you're not going to see them anyway. It's just going to give it a little pretty color. So now we're just going to wait for those to get done. And in the meantime, I'll bring over the bacon and eggs so you can see what those look like. This is what candied bacon looks like when it's cooled. You see it's stiff, it is like candy. So one of the things that we're going to do, whenever you're doing a pretty plate like this, the one thing you want to do is keep everything small. You don't want bacon hanging over the sides. That just defeats the purpose of the heart-shaped pancakes that you just did. Okay. She's not going to be impressed with bacon hanging over the side of the plate. So we're going to cut this bacon at least in half, and we'll see what that size looks like. Well, you can just pull this off with your fingers. You don't have to be pretty about it, because it's probably going to stick. And you know what? Another tip. This is a cooling rack. I would have thought that you couldn't put this in the oven because this is what you would use to put cookies on when you take them out of the oven. But you can use this if you don't have a drip tray. Just use a cooling rack from your cookies. Who knew? So we're just going to cut these in half because we want them to be pretty and little. And then you can eat while you're waiting on those to get done and nobody miss them. Okay, so take this and flip your pancakes. Try not to touch the other ones. Go ahead. You don't have to wait for them to get brown. And like that one that is not so pretty, it still tastes the same. It's the effort that counts. Sometimes you won't notice if they get brown, but what you do want to watch is if they, you want them to bubble up around the edges, and the edges will get dry and the middles will get bubbled up. They're going faster now. Let's get you a tong to flip your Canadian bacon. Now remember, this Canadian bacon is the normal recipe that you would put on an English muffin. We just made the bacon as an extra side because it's pretty and it's delicious, especially for Valentine's Day. And if you don't eat them for Valentine's Day, you, like I said, just chop it up and do something else with it. Eat it as a snack while you're watching a movie. Okay, so that looks like it's pretty good. These are the eggs when they come out of the oven. See how delish? See the cream rolling out of them? Wait till you see this, you're going to die. Okay, so these are the English muffins. You can put these on the griddle if you want to and brown them. We're not going to do that for the sake of time. So what we're going to do is set these eggs aside. We'll show you how to plate all of this up. By the time we get done with this, the pancakes will be ready to plate that. So this is for presentation. This is just going to be something pretty. So you're going to start off by putting an English muffin on each one in the center of each plate. Okay? Now this is where it's going to get tricky. So I'll do one and then you can do one, just so you can see the technique.
Okay.
Okay. This is, see how the cream is not all the way set up? That's good because it's created a cheese sauce. And this is pretty, right? So you want to do your best to keep that on top. So you go around the edge because it will have set up a little bit around the edge. And normally you wouldn't use an offset spatula, but we are today. You just put it over the middle, put it in the center, and then pour your cream around it. Now, you could try it with that one. eggs cooked good. Sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes it's trial and error depending on your oven. Sometimes it'll take 15 minutes. Sometimes it'll take 40. It just depends. Okay. Now, these have good grill marks on them. I have made these where you put Canadian bacon under the eggs and then pour everything over it. Sometimes it gets a little tough to cut. So what we're going to do is put these on a cutting board and just cut them in half. And we're going to just tuck them under. Just so it's cute. It's all about presentation. Okay? See, and this is a perfect example of using grill marks because you don't just have pink pieces of meat sticking out. Your English method is not pretty. Okay. So then, these are ready for the plate. Now see, don't you think it's pretty? And you know what, quite honestly, if you have some that looks too white, you don't have enough color on there, like this one has a lot more cream sauce, all you have to do is get some pepper and just put a little bit. And that's just pretty. Delish. Okay, so this goes on so you'll have your own plate of baked eggs. So you can see. Okay, so now we're on to the pancakes and bacon. A lot of people put powdered sugar on their pancakes. This recipe is pretty sweet. So, taste one of the little hearts before you do that. These would make cute little silver dollar pancakes. You could make, if you're not comfortable with tiny pancakes like this, these are just cute. And she's going to die when she sees them. She might be afraid to eat them. She might need to take a picture of them and put them on Facebook. Is that not cute? Are you not impressed with yourself? Okay.
A little bit.
So what we're going to do is just drizzle them with a little maple syrup. If you do powdered sugar, you want to wait for them to cool down a little bit. If not, your powdered sugar will melt on top of them and you won't see it. So then we have these cute little pieces of bacon. So we're just going to tuck them. Because you still want this to be pretty, even though it's bacon. Then you can just, hey, you know what might be good? We just pull it apart, chop it up, and put it like that. Nice, stop. Okay, now we got pancakes. Who's Sarah? Are we missing anything? Oh, we need raspberry for color. Okay, are you proud of yourself?
I'm very proud of myself.
You think she'll like it?
Yes, it has bacon.
Candied bacon. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Thanks for visiting the Foodie Tourist. Stop by the blog, thefoodietourist.com.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh my God.